Well, Kate Walsh, you have had a very fun role as Gina Hess on Fargo over the past few weeks. On this eighth episode that we watched this week, they jump forward a year after you find out you're not getting any money. Are we even going to see you here on these last couple of episodes?
Um, the scene that in that office, in the insurance office, yeah, that was the farewell.
Oh, no more of you then. We don't ever find out what happened to you.
Saying that, I feel like might I get in trouble for saying that, but that was yeah. She walked
Well,
out.
they can't let you go at this point or erase you off of the film, so I think you're fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell us about getting this role. This is not, at least what we've typically seen from you over like the Private Practice and Grey's Anatomy days. What did you feel like when they sent the script to you?
Well, I loved it. I loved the movie, of course. I was a huge fan, and I read it, and it was kind of perfectly written, and I was so excited. It's so rare to get a role like this, and I auditioned for it happily, and the scene that I auditioned with was the one where I say I'm super flexible. And a couple of others, but I had a hard time keeping a straight face in the audition. It was just very exciting, and then to get it, because I think that a lot of people wanted that role and wanted to be a part of the show in general. It was a huge coup for me, so I was thrilled.
Being a fan of the film like you are, and I am too, I think so many of us, when we just read in the trades that they were making this, so many of us were skeptical. Were you skeptical at all?
No, well, I mean, I had the script. I mean, they said they're going to do Fargo and FX to do that, and they also said that the Coen brothers were producing, which is always, I thought that was a kind of they were giving their blessing that it had to be something that was good, and it's such an interesting area. And then when I saw that it was sort of it's Fargo, but not exactly those characters, but that world, and Noah Hawley just captured, I think, so brilliantly and perfectly kind of rides that line between that kind of pathos and super darkness and the humor, and it really is truly kind of it should be like the dictionary definition of dark comedy, and that bleak view of humanity I just find fascinating and hysterical.
Well, along the way in this interview, I've got the question and answer box open, so if I see a good one, I will certainly ask it. I see one. Normally, I'll wait till a little later, but this one applies to what we were already talking about. Anna Bouquet says, "That was the end of Gina? That can't be true. It's a joke, right? I need more."
I know. I feel like, uh-oh. Well, who knows what could happen? I mean, anything's possible, I guess, in the world of fiction. But it was definitely a great kind of run for me. Like I said, I mean, who knows? It's all in his creative mind, imagination. But he's so good, and the show is so good. I mean, so I would say that if you're bummed to see Gina Hess go, you got to still tune in because there's lots more to enjoy.
Well, let's go back to the beginning, the premiere episode, the second episode, when your husband gets killed. I hope people understand that we've got to talk about all this. So if you haven't watched the season of Fargo, you're going to have to come back and watch this interview later. But your husband gets killed, a really bad guy, not a bad guy in terms of something, but at least a bully. Do you think she was kind of secretly happy?
I think there's definitely a part of her that was not happy, but that I mean, for me, was part of what was so interesting and fun about playing Gina is that she was sort of stunted in her own emotional growth and development, and it was sort of in a suspended, I think, immaturity or childlike, kind of emotional place. And she really did see her husband as a means to an end, and thought that she was going to, live this fantastic kind of jet-setting life in Minnesota. But so I think that it's a complex thing, which is why she sort of laughed and cried, when she found out. It's like, hysterical, a little like, but yeah, definitely. I'm sure he's not the man that she thought he was going to be, and the dreams that she thought she would have did not come true. So she's a survivor. She's like a little, animal, and which is why her quest for the money is so urgent and important.
How many minutes before you think that word insurance hit her mind?
I think it was pretty immediate, and just the idea that it was a given that she was going to be taken care of. And so the shock of not having that happen.
Of all the regular cast members, you've really had no interaction with, say, Billy Bob Thornton or Allison Tolman or Colin Hanks, but Martin Freeman and you have had some really good scenes together. What was he like for you working with him?
Oh, it's incredible to work with Martin. He's so good and so meticulous and focused, and it's like that terribly trite analogy of like playing tennis with someone better than you, or you just get better and you ride. So I feel like with him, he's so good, and so it brings this kind of focus and urgency and heightened kind of energy to all the scenes that, and particularly he shot so fast and quickly. I was going back and forth to LA and Calgary, so it was that was the most nerve-wracking thing for me, sort of getting back into the flow of things. Usually, there day in, day out, you get kind of a flow. So he was very, very helpful and very generous to work with too. And I feel like he was always trying different things, and there was never a dull moment. And I feel like that translated into our scenes.
I interviewed Noah a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about, I don't know that based on his previous work, I don't know that I would have chosen Martin Freeman for this role, but he's been perfect for it. What did you know of him before, and what did you think about him, taking on this kind of a challenge?
Well, I think it's interesting, but I think you could probably say the same about me. If you're like, oh no, she played this other role for a long time, so that's what she's known for. But I think that's the thing about an actor, and you always want to exercise different muscles and different people. And with Martin too, he has that, that Sherlock too. I don't know if you've seen that, but he's got that just incredible quality of this intense, brooding thing in there. And I think that the comedy as well, there's this darkness that's in there that I feel like he got to that's there that he brought to the role, and to this everyman kind of character. There's obviously this brooding darkness, and along with the humor, and I think he killed it, if no pun intended. he hammered it. So yeah, I remember when I had heard who they cast, I was very excited. I thought, oh, great. They were thrilled, and rightly so.
Since you're only in a portion of this, were you able to, did they give you the script portions of the parts you weren't in? I mean, in other words, did you know what else was going on, or have you had to watch it like the rest of us?
No, they gave us the scripts, yeah. Great.
And don't give anything away, but do you know how this thing ends over the next 2 episodes?
I actually haven't read the last script, so I don't know how it ends. So I will be watching with the world.
When you do have a project on TV or a film or whatever, what is your process? Do you like to watch those? Do you like to watch it with friends, alone, not at all?
I usually watch them not at all, or later. I find it, I don't love to watch myself, I guess I would say. I love doing it, and I like to know if people are liking it, and hopefully are enjoying it. But it's always a little nerve-wracking for me. But I have enjoyed watching this one too. I think it's also easier in a way to watch a film or something or a limited series that you have a beginning, middle, and an end. But when it's ongoing, it's sort of it's always challenging. I always feel a little like I see flaws or faults, or it's a little hard. Yeah, rambling answer.
Well, I'll tell you also in this cast, 2 finds to me are the 2 actors playing your sons. Those guys are hilarious.
Oh my God, they're so good. They're so wonderful, and that's the thing. I didn't get to play with Billy Bob or Colin, or I had like one scene with Allison. Who's so great, but it was my little trinity of the twins and Martin. It was just super, super fun. It's like this sad little mafia, my little henchman. you know, bits and bobs. It was really, really fun. And their look, they're just
Well,
super.
please tell me they're not even remotely like that in real life.
They're not remotely like that. They're very good actors, and they're super intelligent, wonderful human beings.
And tell me about your final scene that we saw in the office. You can see already in that scene that Martin Freeman's character is, this whole thing has changed him into a different kind of a person.
Yeah, I mean, that, I just love that scene, just the sadness underneath that, you know, that here she's so enraged and indignant, and that, you know, that she's, you know, been whoring herself out and didn't get the payoff. But to see that, I think that final turn, that final moment, you know, where he snaps and staples one of the kids, and, you know, but that thing of like, oh, you're just like everyone else. You know, this has happened hundreds of times. Or every person in her life that she's been hoping is going to be her golden ticket has let her down, and she's done probably more, you know, humiliating things to get what she needs, and not, you know, and not gotten it. So it was another thing, sort of what we were going for too, other than, you know, one of the ridiculous, you know, or babushka and coat or whatever, that, you know, just that kind of, that moment of like pathos there of like, you know, here's another one that's disappointed
Well,
her.
like you said earlier, she's a survivor. She's probably found another rich husband somewhere along the way.
Right, I'm not worried about her. Yeah.
I want to
Yeah,
talk a
well,
little bit about your career, if you don't
going
mind.
back to like a middle-aged, some sad middle-aged strip club in another tiny town. Who knows? Maybe she's teaching. I always thought she'd move to northern Florida and, you know, teach dance.
And see, that's a whole new series. That you ought to talk to Noah about that.
Right. Gina Hats.
And I can see that is as a title there. I want to talk about your career just a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
When Grey's Anatomy started in '05, did any of you sense at all that it was going to be the phenomenon that it turned out to be?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I can't speak for everyone else, but I think when I first came along, it was like episode 8 of the first season, and it was, at that time, it didn't have an air date or even a title. They kept changing it from Grey's Anatomy to other titles. It was sort of like Apocalypse Now. I went in that set, and they're all like, we don't know. We don't even have an air date. We don't know. We've been shooting and shooting. We have no idea what's going to happen. And, and but I knew it was great writing, and it was a great cast, and they would show, to keep morale up, they would show, well, they still do it now, actually. They would show it every, like once a week. They'd show an episode during lunch, during the crew lunch, and the episodes looked great, like really good. And but I don't, there's no way that, and it was a mid-season, and barely got a time slot, and then the people watched it and liked it, and then the Super Bowl episode happened, it became a runaway hit, and but I don't think anybody could have predicted what was in store, and or certainly I couldn't, and then, you know, all of our lives changed hugely from that.
Well, it took off right away with awards voters, lots of Emmy nominations, a couple of wins along the way. But the one I want to ask you about, you've been doing this a little while, for you and the others to win that SAG award from your peers in the acting industry, I bet that was very satisfying.
It was really meaningful. I mean, all of it was so kind of awesome in the sense that, you know, you want to feel, obviously as an actor and an artist, you want to feel great about the material you're doing, and then of course you want the audiences to like it, but then to have, and you want critics to like it, and you want your peers to like it. So to have all of those, all that validation was truly special. It's like, yeah, the trifecta, you know, it was, and then the SAG, it is, you feel great, because these are all the people that, we're all peers, we all come up with each other, we've all sat in countless audition rooms, you know, memorizing sides and hearing somebody blowing it out the door, and you're at a go-in after, I mean, all the stories that you can tell as an actor, so it's particularly special to be honored by one's peers in that way.
And what was your first reaction when Shonda comes to you and says, you know, your character is so popular, we got an idea for a spin-off show here?
Yeah, I thought, well, when she called me in, I thought I was going to be I thought I was in trouble. You know, when you called, and when the boss called you in, you're like, oh, am I just being called in the principal's office or something? So I had no idea what she wanted to talk to me about. Then when she talked about a spinoff, I was totally surprised and excited and in shock. And because I kind of felt like, well, we've done everything we could with Addison at Seattle Grace at that time. You know, she'd saved lots of babies, lost a few, and slept her way through the hospital. So I was like, all right, she fought for her husband and lost. So I was like, I don't think there's really much more to do with the character, but the idea of really exploring her outside of the love triangle and outside of that scenario was super interesting to me, and I knew I kind of totally trusted her, um, you know, and just exploring the success and struggles of a woman in her, you know, 30s at that time, you know, was really exciting to me. So I was ready to take the gamble, although it's, you know, obviously, total crapshoot, but it paid off in a great way. But, you know, the gains far outweighed the risks. So it's like an offer you can't refuse. Like, let's go for it.
Well, you've got a new show coming up this fall on NBC, and they've got so much faith and confidence in it that they put it right smack dab in the middle of the Thursday night lineup, which is really the most critical night of the week. Tell us, first of all, what that meant to you to get that kind of positioning, because you're not just the lead, you're one of the executive producers.
That's right. I am. Which has been crazy. What a great experience that has been. It's been it's been awesome and humbling and great. And I feel hugely supported. I think sometimes you hear when you're going to collaborate with networks, and you're like, uh-oh, the network notes, uh-oh, the network notes. And they were actually great partners for us and hugely collaborative. And I feel really excited. And again, we had no idea until that Friday that we were getting a pickup and getting 13 for the fall. And then the Thursday night, 9 o'clock time slot is obviously a huge vote of confidence. So we're excited, man. And it's such a lesson for me in process, and it's like every aspect of it has been like a new draft. I worked on we were developing the show for a year, and then, and Anne Hayes brought the idea to Gary Sanchez, which is Adam McKay and Farrell's company, and then they brought in Chad Kulchin. They had to deal at Universal. They started developing it. So when I saw the script last year, then I came in and brought my stuff to it, and then Adam McKay, who's one of my oldest friends, came in and did a rewrite, which was incredible for me. It's kind of sort of coming full circle. We've known each other for over 20 years, and then now to have like the added bonus of Liz Brixia to ran and co-created Nurse Jackie. It's an incredible team that we have. So I am. It's again, but it's like I haven't been involved on the ground floor of something so. So it's been very new for me and awesome, exciting. Like I said, every aspect of it has been like a draft. Whereas, like for instance, Fargo, the scripts were done, block. We're like, this is it. We're doing. You just step in and fall into this character and create it, and hopefully find that great tone and balance and sort of the script. And this one we're just creating from the ground up. So it's been quite a journey, and I look forward to the next part of it. And I feel. It's a really honorable, or I feel it's like a humbling and honored place to be. A woman in my 40s. I've been doing this. I've been acting as a kid. This is my dream. I did plays and there's school plays and community theater to, waited lots of tables, did lots of crazy jobs, and now I get to work with experts like Adam and Liz and Anne, and have a network, Bob Greenblatt and Jen Selfie that are completely supportive and want it to be amazing. So it's just like it's a pretty profound experience for me.
Well, I've seen some clips, and boy, this judge is she's a character with a capital C, isn't she?
Yeah, it was. That was what was really appealing to me. From page one, I read it. I kept going back. I was reading it on my iPhone, so I was reading it like this, And then I kept going to the front. I'm like, who wrote this? This is really good because and Chad and Haitian had, like I said, the idea, it all came from her lovely brain, and Chad had written it, but it was written in such this, it felt like a little bit of a dude, which I liked, this sort of woman who's very proficient at her job, but like is a bit of a teenage boy on the inside, and not just the sort of neurotic or that kind of role. So it was really, really an interesting one, and yeah, kind of had it all. So I'm thrilled. It was been incredible.
Now, have you only shot the pilot, or have you already shot any of the other episodes?
No, we've only shot the pilot, so we go back to work at the end of July, and we're doing a couple reshoots for that, and then we move on to Christmas.
I would imagine that's the time, and you haven't done anything from the ground up before, but I would imagine that's the time between the pilot and then actually shooting the first new episode that you really do make the tweaks and the changes and try to get it, as good as possible. You've got those few months to really work on it.
Yeah, we do, and that's the great thing for me, and why I wanted to EP it too, was to have my hands sort of in every aspect of it. Because I love it. I love collaborating with people. So to be able to talk with the set designer or production designer about how I want to, and go and interview judges downtown, and say, I want her to drive this beat-up old oxidized van with a mural on the side, and then I want her house to feel like this is a lady who lives there, but just has this stacks of legal briefs and doesn't really have a nice place that she lives for work and partying, and to make our courtroom look like a Van Nuys courthouse and not like Law and Order, to all of those things, to costume design, and then and even pitching character and be able. The great thing about working with Adam McKay and them is that my background, a lot of it is improv from Chicago, so to be able to improvise as well, great. And being in the editing room and being able to, we had a very clear idea. I wanted this to be shot in a way that you let the scenes play and not be too cut, this kind of hyper editing where, you're forcing the audience to sort of look at people. I wanted it to let scenes play out in medium shots and two shots. So it was really satisfying for me to, and then it became this whole other thing where we started interviewing writers for writing staff, not yet knowing if we're getting a pickup, but we're interviewing writers, and then we need a showrunner, and so it's all been happening in this non-linear, kind of beautiful, chaotic way. That's a really long way of saying, yes, this is the part where we're also digging in and creating the new part of the process, where Liz came in and created her writer's room, and they go to work this week, and I can go in and sit with them and talk and see where we want to go, and then really hone the series and figure out what it is, and that I'm excited about that journey, and so yeah.
Well, from what I've seen, it looks very very exciting and funny, and just like something I think the viewers would go for, but also, you've got such a fun, over-the-top kind of a character that I think, voters of different kinds of award shows, you and I may be having this same conversation next year, just because I think you may be one of those kind of roles.
All right, yeah, I hope so. It's a special role, and it's been kind of incredible for me. Usually, like I said, the traditional way for me to approach something is either, whether it's a play or a television show or a movie, is you have conversations with directors and writers and everything, but like Noah's script as an example for Fargo, you have that, and you're like, this is it, now I'm going to lock in. I had a couple conversations with Noah and the directors, but I'm going to go for it and create this character and do what my interpretation of that. Whereas with this pilot for NBC, it's been such a massive collaboration from, and it was really uncomfortable for me at first. I'm like, hold on, I just want that script on the paper, which is like, I want that finite thing, and then we'll give notes on it, we'll do it, and it became this other thing. and actually incredible things. To be able to collaborate with Anne and with Chad, and also with our great producers at Gary Sanchez, Owen Burke, and Kevin Messick, and then get Adam and collaborate with him, and then in Henchy a little bit, and then now Liz. So it's been this interesting ride of finding this and developing this with other people in the best way, though. I think a lot of people might deem that too many cooks in the kitchen, or too much, that it would be watered down to not something pure, but it's actually been kind of the opposite. It's really helped it become big. That makes sense.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to it, and over in the fall, good luck with that. Good luck on the Emmy ballot this summer. This might be your chance, really, here. I think, especially in these movie miniseries categories, you've got such a great project with Fargo. I hope it works out for you.
I hope so. I'm really proud of the work, and I'm just so proud to be a part of a project like Fargo. It really was an incredible experience, and I'm so proud of it. So proud of it. So, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Have a great summer.
Okay, you too.